Hi everyone, welcome back to Hope and Coffee. However, today I am Hope and a cup of chai. And this is just a cup of Raja Oolong from Adagio Teas. Now, this is not sponsored, this is just where I got this particular blend from. And it is so very warm and comforting. And, seem like there's no sweetener in it, but for some reason, whatever is in this blend seems to give a hint of sweetness. Like it feels as though something inside of it, whether it's the cinnamons or the spices combination, seems to taste, in my opinion, slightly sweet. So I love it. But anyway, today's conversation and today's episode is actually about this book. This is Naomi Novik, A Deadly Education. Now, this is the first book in the Scholarmancy series, and it is lesson 1 is how it describes itself. And I know the second one is called I believe, The Last Graduate. But this was my first read through of this book, and I've got some thoughts. I have read Uprooted, and I have also read Spinning Silver, and so she has been someone who's been on my radar for quite a period of time. And I really wanted to talk about this book, and this will be a podcast episode on Books Are Magical very soon. So please be on the lookout for that, where me and my co-host Hannah will discuss this book a little bit more in depth. This episode is only going to be about 10 minutes long, and this is simply my thoughts, where I question you guys, and hopefully some of you guys will leave some comments down below and we can explore this a little bit more, and maybe in the podcast I can bring up some of these points in the podcast if y'all respond, and I would love to create some dialogue in that podcast with y'all's comments. So please leave some comments down below as to what you thought about this book. But diving into this book, I was incredibly surprised because our main character, Elle, or Galadriel, is she is not liked by many people. And so right off the bat, we are introduced to a character who seems on the verge of villainhood, like throughout a good portion of the book. And she seems to be fighting that almost innate nature of herself. Her powers seem to lean towards villainhood. The spells that the school throw at her seems to lean that way. But she herself does not want to follow that path. And pretty soon, within the beginning of the book, there is this guy named Orion Lake who comes along, and he is well loved by everybody. He is kind of like the all-American hero, but I don't think he's all-American. I think he's British. He comes along and he starts saving everybody. He is like the golden boy of saving everyone, and he starts kind of following on her coattails, like, I don't know, kind of like a puppy in a lot of different ways. And so at first she thinks he's following her around because she thinks he's going to catch her doing something nefarious, and she really has no plans to do anything nefarious, except she almost kind of wants to, just simply to, I don't know, spite him, I think. This school is not like Hogwarts in any respect. This school is not like any magical school I've ever encountered, which makes it so unique because it almost seems autonomously running of adults. Like, from what I could tell, there are no adults running around teaching classes or directing students or anything of that nature. This seems to be a school, almost like fully encompassed by the kids within. So from the freshman class to the senior class, and that's kind of it. There doesn't seem to be any custodial staff. There doesn't seem to be any maintenance staff. There doesn't seem to be anybody else except for these students who are working through these classes. And so that was also really kind of confusing for a little while, because I'm sitting here trying to kind of reconcile that in my brain as well. Now, again, I'm going to try not to spoil too much. I'm going to try not, like, I don't want to get copywritten strike or anything like that. I'm just simply talking about my opinions about this book. But I was on the fence about this book quite a bit because, in so many ways, it's very unique because of all of those points that I just mentioned. But then again, I didn't know why I was kind of like rooting for the main character. She seems so unlikable for so long. And yet, I've read books where the main character almost seems unlikable, yet keeps doing things that you really do kind of want to root for. And Galadriel does that. She consistently fights against her nature of quote unquote villainy, or quote unquote becoming this evil queen, this evil temptress, to try to do the right thing. And so she puts herself on the line several times, and again, without telling people, without trying to get any accolades or any of that nature, just simply because it's right. And so for that, I have to give her kudos and credit, because like, this school seems to be very hard. It seems to be very much a school that is geared more towards like you will probably perish rather than survive. And that actually becomes an issue later in the book with the senior class, because they are in their junior level. Orion and Galadriel, they're in their junior level, about to move to their senior level, and apparently it's kind of like moving down through the levels until you finally reach that bottom level. You finally move into the final like boss level. You've beat all the bosses, and then you can escape. Like, that's how you get out of this school. Like, that is graduation. It's like, once you can get to this bottom level, you can get out, like, if you can pass those monsters and like flee through the gates like while they're open for those 30 minutes. Otherwise, you have to wait a whole year to try it again. And so it's very interesting, and I cannot wait to talk with Hannah about this book, because we will probably have some spoilers in that particular podcast episode. But I would love to know what you think, because they're like, apparently students taking each other out is not uncommon. Again, there's not teachers that are going to like I guess, berate you. They're not going to discipline you. If the school doesn't discipline you and the other students don't discipline you, well, then you're fine. You just may not have anybody who's going to have your back when all these like monsters are running around. And there are monsters aplenty. Apparently they are just rampant, and they're like cockroaches, like these monsters, but they're like all shapes and sizes. It's kind of like an infestation. They are everywhere. It's like in the cafeteria. You may or may not eat today. I don't even know where the food comes from, really. Like, I guess it's magicked up. I don't know who's making it. The vending machines are definitely magicked, because I know when Elle and some of her, I guess, her alliance people go for a little midnight snack run, they, it's a kind of you get what you get sort of thing, and they put in their tokens, and they get just this random assortment of thing like salted licorice and an MRE and just like some things that are kind of expired. Like one of them gets some sushi, but apparently it's pretty good sushi. Like, it was like made that day. So like, but the MRE was like from 3 years ago, and it's just like randomly in this vending machine. So I will say, overall, I truly enjoyed it. I'm definitely going to dive into the second book, but I was kind of baffled. I absolutely had no idea what I was walking into when I read this book. And like I said, I've picked up her book Uprooted, and I've picked up Spinning Silver, both of which are very unique in their perspectives of fairy tales, because you do get main characters who are almost not super incredibly likable, but it makes the main characters more real. And I really like that perspective. However, Galadriel, she definitely verges on villainy in a lot of different ways. And I only say that because all of her powers are trying to push her that way. It would be so easy for her to go that way. And she is constantly fighting to not go that way. She is absolutely does not want to draw from that power. She wants to kind of stay on the path like of good and kind of make her mom proud. And like, so in a lot of ways I kind of am rooting for her. But anyway, please leave your comments down below if this is something you've read, if you plan to read it. Anyway, like, subscribe, share, what have you. And once I reach 100 subscribers, I think I'm going to do like a book giveaway. I don't know what I'm going to give away yet, but I'm sure I've got something, or I may do a gift card, so we'll see. But we are we'll figure it out. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you all on the next page. Have a great one. Bye.